There have been a ton of amazing games that have landed onto Xbox Game Pass in 2024 so far. With many of us juggling incredibly busy lives, it can be very hard to narrow down what to play when it comes to the service. That is why today I'll be narrowing down this list and covering the 15 best Xbox Game Pass games of 2024 so far. This was an expansive list with so many games that have been added this year, so if I've missed any, do let me know in the comments below. With that out of the way, my name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Subscribe for more Xbox content every single day, and let's jump right in. Kicking things off with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This new experience brings back the fast-paced, nerve-wracking multiplayer that we know and love, but now with a modern twist. You've got your standard modes like Team Deathmatch and Domination, but you've also got new modes like Ground War and obviously the Warzone integration that really spiced things up. This time they even brought back some iconic maps from the original Modern Warfare 2 like Terminal and Wasteland, but with updated visuals and mechanics to fit the modern gameplay. Plus the campaign, well, it really puts you in with the high octane missions and the beloved characters like Captain Price and Ghost. The campaign is not the strongest in the series by any means, but if you're craving the fast-paced action that Call of Duty is known for, this one will definitely scratch that itch, especially on Xbox Game Pass. Next, we've got Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, and let me tell you, this is one of the most immersive experiences that you'll find on Game Pass. This sequel takes everything great about the first game with its intense psychological horror, intricate puzzles and Norse mythology, and actually cranks it up to 11, and the level of realism here is absolutely insane. The facial animations, the voice acting and the atmospheric world, it all combines to pull you deep into Senua's troubled mind. And it's not just a visual marvel, the gameplay has been expanded with deeper combat mechanics as there's a more fluid combo system, and Senua's interactions with the environment just feel more dynamic. It really is a heavy emotional ride, but it's so worth it, and it's one game that I really enjoyed from start to finish. Now, let's take a trip down memory lane with the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This remastered collection brings back the 3 original Crash games, and not just with a fresh coat of paint. The developers completely rebuilt these games from the ground up with modern visuals and tighter controls, so they play like an absolute dream. That said, don't let the cartoony graphics fool you, this game is as brutally difficult as I remember. Timing your jumps and spins is obviously key, and some of those later levels will have you raging, but obviously in a fun way. Whether you're reliving childhood memories or experiencing Crash for the first time, this trilogy is an absolute joy, and it's fantastic to see it added onto Xbox Game Pass. Next on this list is a game that got added recently, and that is the Mafia Definitive Edition, a full remake of the 2002 classic. If you are a fan of cinematic storytelling, this game delivers that in spades. You will take on the role of Tommy Angelo, a cab driver turned mobster, and you will follow his rise through the ranks of the Italian Mafia in 1930s America. The voice acting and character performance are absolutely top tier, but what really stands out is the attention to detail in the city of Lost Heaven. You'll see everything from vintage cars to perfectly recreated architecture that really makes this world feel alive. The mission design as well is very high octane action with intense moments of strategy, making it a perfect blend for any fan of mob dramas. It's great to see this one arrive onto Xbox Game Pass, and you can play this across console, cloud and PC. Let's set sail now over to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which puts you in the boots of Eivor, a Viking warrior leading a clan of Norse settlers. This game masterfully blends the Assassin's Creed stealth mechanics with a more brutal, visceral combat system that really captures that Viking spirit. It was great to see this Assassin's Creed game coming onto Xbox Game Pass, and one of the best parts about it is how it weaves together history and mythology. You'll be exploring ancient ruins one minute and then raiding an English village the next. There's just so much content in this game, as you've got main story missions, side quests and world events that really suck you in. It's easily a 100+ hour game if you want to do absolutely everything, but the world is so rich and detailed that it never feels like a grind. For the JRPG lovers, earlier this year we got Persona 3 Reload, and to be honest, it is a must play. A full remake of the 2006 classic, Persona 3 Reload gives this fan favourite title a fresh start with modern graphics and enhanced combat mechanics. In this game, you'll explore the mysterious tower called Tartarus, fighting against shadows whilst managing daily life as a high school student. The real charm here though is the dual life aspect. You're not just grinding through dungeons, but you're also building relationships with your classmates, and this actually directly impacts your in-game abilities. There's a deep emotional story here about life, death and friendship that really does evolve over time, and if you're new to Persona games, this is just honestly such a great place to start. If you're in the mood for some zombie slashing racing action, then Dead Island 2 is the one for you. Set in a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, this game is all about chaotic, over-the-top action. You'll essentially find yourself in the middle of what they call Hell A, slicing and dicing through hordes of zombies using an absurd variety of weapons. This is everything from electrified machetes to flaming baseball bats. What's really cool in this game is the weapon crafting system, as you can modify almost anything into a zombie killing tool, and to be honest, there's a lot of satisfaction in watching those zombies explode after a well-placed attack. Whether you're going in it solo or teaming up with friends in co-op, Dead Island 2 really brings the fun in big bloody chunks. It's great to see this one on Xbox Game Pass, but do be aware, it's only currently available for the Xbox Series X and S consoles. Before we dive into the remaining games, please do consider subscribing for more Xbox content every single day. We post everything from news, reviews, and Game Pass content, and I'd love to have you on this Xbox journey with me. I've now revamped the membership system for the channel to include some extra goodies, so if you want to go a step further and support the channel, that would be incredible. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back into the remaining games. Now, let's talk about Diablo 4. If dungeon crawling and loot grinding are your jam, then this game will keep you hooked for hours or even days. Set in a dark gothic world ravaged by demons, you'll have to hack, slash, and cast your way through hordes of enemies. The skill trees are incredibly deep, allowing you to customize your character's abilities just totally based on your playstyle. The game also has an open world with plenty of dungeons, strongholds, and world events to dive into. And add that with its seamless multiplayer integration, and you've got a recipe for one of the best dungeon crawlers in years. It was great seeing Diablo 4 being one of the first Activision Blizzard games being added to Game Pass, and whether you're a long-time fan or a newcomer to the franchise, this game is a must-play. Are you ready for something a little bit more lighthearted? Well, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 brings the over-the-top arcade racing action back with a vengeance. You'll be racing across the most outrageous tracks possible with loop-de-loops, massive jumps, and crazy stunts, and to be honest, anything more that you can name of. The game looks absolutely gorgeous with cars and environments that are practically toy box perfect. This sequel adds new vehicles, more customization options, and a few new gameplay mechanics like the ability to perform stunts mid-air. You'll also be able to build your own tracks like the previous game, you can share them online, and also race against friends or other players worldwide. If you really want something fast, fun, and filled with nostalgia, then this game is the one for you. Now, one game that was added to the service earlier this year and lets us journey to a galaxy far, far away is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. You in this game actually step back into the shoes of Cal Kestis, one of the last remaining Jedi, as you battle the Empire and uncover hidden secrets across the galaxy. The first game is also still on Xbox Game Pass at the moment, so if you've never experienced this franchise, I highly recommend that you do so. The lightsaber combat in these games are completely buttery smooth, and they've added new stances in this new game and also abilities to give you more ways to fight the Empire. Whether you're wanting just to deflect blaster fire, use the force push to push enemies off cliffs, or engage in epic lightsaber duels, the combat in this game just feels incredibly dynamic. The story also dives deeper into Star Wars lore and opens up so many locations we didn't see in the first entry, and it makes it a real treat for fans of the series. Evil West is one game you might have missed, but it is certainly one you have to try, especially as it's a hidden gem on Xbox Game Pass. It's essentially a wild mix of Western gunslinging action, but then mixed in with some supernatural horror. You will play as Jesse Rentier, a vampire hunter in a Wild West overrun with all sorts of creepy monsters. The combat in this game is super satisfying, with a mix of ranged gunplay and melee brawling. And to be honest, the best part, you can upgrade your weapons and abilities to make you feel like an absolute powerhouse. The story reminds me of AA games of old that we used to experience on the Xbox 360, and the unique setting and fast-paced action makes it stand out from other games in the genre. This is one game I highly recommend, and is an absolute blast on Xbox Game Pass. If strategy is more your thing, then Age of Mythology Retold is an absolute gem, and it only released a couple of weeks ago. This remastered version of the 2002 classic brings all the mythological battles and strategy goodness to the modern era. You will control armies based on ancient civilizations, and with gods like Zeus or Ra on your side, you can summon mythological creatures like minotaurs or sphinxes to crush your enemies. The remastered graphics and sound make the battles feel even more epic than ever before, and the strategic depth in this game will keep you coming back for just one more turn. If you've never played Age of Mythology before, or even an Age of Empire game, then this is a perfect way to experience a real-time strategy classic. Next up, we've got Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. These two games are a love letter to classic JRPGs with a unique twist. I had to include both games in this section as both are fantastic, and I didn't want to narrow down to just one singular entry. You can control 8 distinct characters in both of these games, each with their own unique storylines and combat abilities. The turn-based combat in these is just highly strategic, with a boost system that allows you to power up your attacks for maximum damage. The real magic here is the gorgeous 2D HD art style. It does blend pixel art with more modern lighting and effects, making it one of the most visually striking games on the market. If you love deep, character-driven RPGs, these games are a must-play. Still Wakes the Deep is a psychological horror game that takes place on an oil rig, and it's one of the creepiest games that I've actually played this year. The isolation of being out at sea, mixed with the claustrophobic environment of the rig, makes it such an intense experience. What's really cool though about this game is it doesn't just rely on cheap jump scares. Instead, it builds suspense through the atmosphere and the incredible sound design. You'll constantly feel like something's watching you, and when the horror does actually hit, it's even more terrifying. If you love atmospheric horror games, this one's the one for you, and it's so great to see an indie gem like this on Xbox Game Pass. Last but certainly not least, we have Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess, a beautiful action-adventure game that blends Japanese mythology with fast-paced combat. It's such a great experience seeing Capcom now going into different genres, and it was also great to see this coming day one onto the service. You will play as a divine warrior tasked with fighting off hordes of demonic spirits to ultimately protect their land. The art style here is just breathtaking with so many vibrant colours, and there's also so many intricate designs that will really make the world feel like a living painting. The combat system is just so deep with lots of strategic elements. You can't just hack and slash your way through the enemies, instead you'll need to think about your moves and time your attacks perfectly, as well as position your troops in the right location. It's one of those games that's as beautiful to watch as it is fun to play, and is one game that's highly underrated on the service. Alright, now for a quick couple of bonus mentions, and first up we've got the Resident Evil 3 remake. If you're a fan of survival horror, you really have to play this one. The updated visuals are phenomenal, and Nemesis, well, to be honest, he's as terrifying as ever. Then finally, Lords of the Fallen. If you love challenging Souls-like games, this one's a must-play. It's got tough as nails combat and a dark atmospheric world that's just begging to be explored. It was great seeing both of these editions on Xbox Game Pass, and they're still both worth checking out. So there you have it, that's the 15 of the best Xbox Game Pass games of 2024 so far, plus a couple of my bonus gems. There is something here for everyone, whether you're into action, RPGs, horror, or strategy, so definitely let me know if I've missed one of your favourite games on Game Pass this year in the comments below. Also, let me know what you're playing on Game Pass right now, as I'm always interested to see what you're playing. Whilst here, why don't you consider liking the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox Game Pass content every single day. I've also chucked our most recent video on screen now, covering the 11 huge free games coming to Xbox in 2024 and 2025. It's well worth checking out this list, as there's a ton of awesome games coming soon.